Hello, hello. I need to talk about pride and shame. Okay, so I've been wanting to talk about this for a very, very long time. That is such a humongous subject, you have no idea, absolutely no idea. So we all have it, okay? I have it too. I mean, I'm not no exception. I'm not standing on some kind of high pedestal, right? No, I'm not. I have feelings too. Can you turn the table lamp on? Table lamp, thank you very much. I very much appreciate that, helps. So the sun is setting and it looks very nice. So yeah, there are so many things to talk about in regards to pride and shame. Pride and shame is the one and the same thing. Okay? It's the same energetic unit. So it's an energy unit. Lugard agrees. 111. Yes, absolutely. So it's an energy unit, and it shows itself. Oh, I wished I could have some of that. No, oh man, oh gosh, oh man. Now he's eating candy right in front of me. That's really, really, really bad. Oh man, oh gosh. Okay, whatever. But anyway, I ate 2 sandwiches and I drank a vegan whole food strawberry milkshake, so with oatmeal, and it was really, really good. That's better than that candy bar from Lind. So, but anyway, pride and shame, okay? So there are so many things that fall into that category. It's unbelievable. So it's like, well, let me start with that 48-hour crime report that I watched. I didn't watch the whole thing, but these things, these stories, they just keep repeating themselves. Just with different names and different people. But what I noticed is that the facial expressions in those psychopathic men is almost identical in all of those cases. So just another case again of a man who had a lovely, beautiful, intelligent, caring wife, 2 beautiful boys, and I don't know what happened. He said the communication between them wasn't going very well. He starts an affair with another woman in another state, and he takes vacations with her, all behind the back of his wife. He doesn't tell his wife. He never addresses any of the problems. He is a fundamentalist Christian, okay? He's been in the military. His parents are in extreme anosognosia type of denial. Okay. Extreme denial. Like visceral type of biological denial, where it's like some kind of, like really cellular, on a cellular basis. So those are the type of parents. They are not well in the head. They are in deep denial about a bunch of stuff. Those are the kind of people that will believe in the earth not being a globe. They think the earth is some kind of plate or something. And they believe that global warming is a hoax. Those type of people, it's like fundamentalist, Christian, evangelical, Pentecostal. The animal angels agree with me. 444. Yeah, those are the speciesist type of people, totally in denial and They think boys are great and girls are just the minions or the sidekicks. The girls have to be in the kitchen. I hope they don't have a daughter, those people. But anyway, their son has murdered his beautiful wife and his beautiful sons. He strangled them while they were sleeping, strangled them to death, and then he spray painted them with red spray paint, and he made it look some kind of Charles Manson type of murder or something, and like it's some kind of crazy person who has stalked them, who has written them threatening emails for half a year, which he's the one who did it. And these kind of cases, they keep repeating themselves, all over the world. The same type of stuff, where the husband is the one who is pretending to be that's a stalker, and there's no stalker, and the husband is the one who's setting this up, okay, who is plotting this entire thing so that one day he can make it look like a crazy stalker killed his family, and he just so happened to be in the gym at that time, at 5 a.m. in the morning. That makes no sense at all whatsoever. I mean, the whole case is like one big red flag, It didn't take me very long to figure this out. As soon as I started watching this and I saw this family photo and the guy in the photo, I could clearly see that this is a psychopath. I can see it in his face. So I've become very good at this now. So this is also very helpful for me, to be able to see it. When I first came to LA, I was 26, that was in 1992. I was not that informed about these type of things. We didn't have a lot of those cases in Germany. Once in a while, but it was really, there were many years in between these cases. Here in the United States, they are just mounting up, and the violence is so much increasing. Even back then, when Germany was not that violent, it was much more violent in the United States. So now Germany has become violent because of the refugees that have come in. They have brought the violence with them. They're fleeing from their violent countries, but they themselves are violent, and they bring it into the country. And then Germany has a country within a country. They have Sharia law inside of the country. It's all ridiculous. So this is starting to happen in the United States now, which is very scary. So, but anyway, that guy, white guy, evangelical fundamentalist, there are several psychopaths among those, for sure, for absolute certain. So it's not just one demographic that has the violent people. There are differences in statistics. I'm not going to get into this now. But violent people are there. You can find them everywhere, psychopaths. So, but I also look at the society that people grow up in. So the society, and what kind of journalism we have, Is the journalism unbiased or is it biased? Is the country full of religions? Is the country full of the predominantly evangelical, Lutheran, Pentecostal, those type of Lutheran push over these type of people that think everyone is the same and we're all the same. Like, hello. No, we are not all the same, obviously. Okay, there are vast genetical differences among humans. There are brains of people that have unbelievable compassion, like Wayne Purcell and Ingrid Newkirk, Paul Watson, Peter Hammerstedt, Pamela Anderson, Alicia Silverstone, okay? Deeply compassionate brains out there. So they have a completely different brain anatomy than the average pushover follower type of person, or the average psychopath. Completely different brain. The psychopath has atrophied amygdala, and that is genetic. Okay, there's research that has been done on that subject. Dr. Adrian Rain has investigated into this, okay, and studied people's brains. He went from prison to prison with an fMRI van. He put these people in the machine and scanned their brain while they were talking to them. So it means functioning magnetic resonance imaging. That means that it's a magnetic resonance imaging of the brain while the brain is awake and conscious and active with something. It's made to do an active task of some sort. Mathematical equations, or they ask them questions, and then they see which regions in their brains are lighting up, and which color. The color indicates the level of brain activity. So that's how they are now able to dissect the brain in a digital way without having to cut it open. So and that gives them a lot more insight also, So they have, this is a sure thing. Most people are not even informed about this type of science. So most people don't even learn this in schools. So right there is a problem. They don't learn this in schools. While in Germany they used to, up until the point when I left Germany in 1992. I went back later after 3 years in LA. I went back for another 2 years in Germany, and I saw how things had already shifted in the wrong direction because of the influx of refugees from Africa, Middle East, and India, those type of places, and also from those former Soviet countries, people that were not educated. They all came into Germany, and that just brought the overall IQ and also the entire educational system way down. So it's funny how dumber people also make the educational system dumber. Okay, so that's happening, obviously. And now it shouldn't be happening. It should be the other way around. The dumber the people are, the more of an urgency we have in creating better and better and smarter educational systems and teaching people better and having all of these things and all this biology, the stuff that the people have never learned about, DNA research, all of this should be mandatory. That shouldn't just be something like later on, when we get to the higher classes like 10th grade and plus, then people have this option to choose between biology and physics. you know, I think all of these things should be mandatory. That shouldn't be just some kind of option, which direction do you want to go to? And I think also when people go to graduate school, college, university, that I think we should have integrated schools. That I went to one of those integrated schools in Germany, and that school was integrated from like first grade all the way to the high school graduation, which in Germany encompasses half a year of college. So approximately, that's approximately the educational level of the German Abitur versus the high school. Here is more like 10th grade in Germany. So they go to 12th grade, and they finish it with Abitur, which is like half a year of college, where you also have to pass all of these classes with a minimum amount of points. So there's a minimum point requirement, or people don't pass it. And so a lot of those different subjects are being taught, but I think they shouldn't limit this in any way at all. All of these subjects should be taught. People need to be informed as widely as possible. That's what I think. Because we don't know what people will do later on the internet. They will play video games and that's it. So they're only gonna do what their ego and their physical urges are dictating to them, instead of getting a very wide spectrum education. That's why I think education should be mandatory for every single person. That shouldn't be up to the parent to decide, or the individual student. I think it should be mandatory that all students, that all kids and all teenagers have to go to school, have to learn all of these things, but not in a school complex, like campus type of situation, but at home on their computers. Okay, so we need to have mandatory computer schools. That's what's very, very necessary. And it should be done through incentives, because that's the only way we can get people to do it. If it's done through some kind of force alone, that's not like a legal type of force. You either do this or you're going to face the consequences. So that's never the right approach to begin with, but maybe we need to have that in form of the legal system, that this is mandatory legally, but in order to really make people do it, they have to also get some kind of reward for doing it, some kind of direct reward, because long-term reward is not enough for most people. So we desperately need a school reform. Okay, that is absolutely, there's no doubt about it. We see it very clearly what's happening. So this psychopath there, in that case, the psychopath who wanted to have the other woman, but telling his wife, first of all, he's too much of a coward to tell her, and then he's a coward to tell his religious community. The evangelical church in particular, they have this type of shaming going on for a husband to break up with his wife. So then what do? Instead of breaking up, they murder their wives. Okay, so Often they also cash in on life insurance. That's why this should not be called life insurance. It should be called death insurance. Okay, so it just makes sense. It should actually be called psychopathic murder insurance. That would be the best terminology for it. And it should be outlawed. Okay. Because there are too many people taking advantage of this. Too many psychopaths that are taking advantage of this. And they're like 99% of men that are doing this. Maybe 1% women. So that's about the ratio that this is happening. And so it took me one glance at that family photo. I knew, oh, I can already see the entire. It's almost like some kind of like fractal recognition, you know. I see the face and I know the whole story already. So, and it brings up an enormous disgust. It's almost like it's like smelling something really, really nasty. Like smelling something really toxic and obnoxious. So that's what it felt like, you know, when I first looked into that crime report. I basically don't need to watch any more of these crime reports because they just keep on repeating themselves, the same story over and over and over again with just different names, different people. Similar faces, actually anatomically similar faces. Even across different demographics and different ethnicities, they have similar faces. I wonder if the facial structure is actually already indicative of a specific character type of a personality. Blue God agrees. 2222. Yes, it is, obviously. You know, that is what it is. So it's definitely genetic. Okay, so Paul is absolutely right about this. It is genetic. For me, coming from a more nuanced, psychologically and pan-psychic background, having studied a lot of that in terms of the occult, I know that the answer, the root causes, the answers go even deeper than genetics, of course, but it doesn't deny genetics. Genetics it's fact. Genetics is factual, so, but then, on top of the genetics, it goes even further, and it goes into epigenetics, it goes into family lineages, it goes into inherited pain from your predecessors, from your parents and from your grandparents, and so on. And from entire tribal systems that we originate from, you know, our distant ancestors. So that could be a whole panel of different nomadic tribes and ethnic tribes. Okay, so and most people in the world have at least a small percentage of very, very different DNA in them that they were never aware of. So I wasn't aware that I had Pacific Islander in me. So I would never even thought about it. So, but then when I saw it, you know, like 0.5% is not very much. But then I can see, yeah, but I mean, the very dark brown hair, it does come from something, and the dark brown eyes and eyebrows, so which my mother has. my dad has light brown hair and greenish type of eyes. So I know that the Pacific Islander comes from my mother's side. I'm pretty sure of that. So would be interesting to verify that with DNA tests, but I don't need to. It's pretty obvious, I think. So even though my mother has that Pinocchio nose, so I can see that it is coming from her side. So, and then who knows what my dad has in him, some even more remote Nigerian or something like this, because I recognize the eye shapes of those children, and it's good, it's good that we are, that most people are mixed to some degree at least, so that makes this bias a little bit, it takes the edge of it a little bit. But yeah, obviously there are people that will say, oh, you are only 50% this or that, so I'm putting you into the other group. So there are people like this, absolutely, for sure. There are black people that will shun albino black people. There are it's very rare albinism in the Afro DNA, okay, but it happens. And then what do? They shun these albinos in Africa and around the whole world, and it's abhorrent. They make them cry, they make them suffer. Those people don't even know where to go, who to hang out with, out of fear of prejudice from other people. So they can't even hang out with their own people because they are prejudiced against them, because the albino people are white, but they have Afro facial features and body and hair, but the hair is white, but the hair is structured the same way, and Afro type of hair, and those are beautiful beings, and they should be very happy. But it is very difficult for a child growing up, no matter how beautiful they are, when they have been treated in very neurotic ways by their parents or peer groups, classmates, friends, society in general. So they carry that with them, this trauma. It's really, really horrific. So for me, that wasn't the case, because I look pretty much the same as the other kids. Just most of them the other girls had lighter hair, but basically kind of like the same face and stuff like this, same type of body, short legs and long torso and small lips and stuff like that. So kind of like the receding grandmother mouth. Yeah, a lot of us have this there when I was growing up. And the Frankenstein forehead and all of this. Yeah. So, but yeah, obviously, if it's like 0.1%, then that's a minute percentage of something that is wildly different to the majority of that of all the the 99.9% European, from different European nations, or like I have something from every single European country, including Portuguese and Italian and Spanish. So I have something from everything, and Hungarian and Czechoslovakian and Slovenian and Russian and 16% Scandinavian. That's that is the largest percentage from all of those individual ones. And then I have also a large percentage of British Isles. So it's almost all people are, they contain a melting pot of different ethnicities. And that makes the gene pool stronger. Okay, you're a stronger person if you have DNA from different ethnic groups in you. Okay, that definitely makes someone more resilient, and that will make me not be a Stockholmer, for example. When the pure-blooded Scandinavian would be a Stockholmer, would be ultra woke, left, hold the other cheek. Martin Luther, no wonder he's from way in the north, so, but then he became aggressive against the Vatican. So I don't like neither one. I don't like Luther or the Vatican. So no, I'm not going to sign on to either one of these horrible things. There's the painting I like in the Vatican that shouldn't be there. It doesn't belong in there. It should go to Christie's instead. It should go to Sotheby's instead. Should be auctioned off. Should go to Steve Wynn's house. That it would be better taken care of with better energy there, for sure. So, but yeah, the Transfiguration of Christ by Raphael, painted around 1500, hangs in the Vatican. My absolute favorite painting of all artworks in the whole world. I mean, I'm a modern artist fan and all of this, but the Transfiguration of Christ, there is something in it that also transcends. It transfigures, just like the Christ in the painting. The whole painting transcends and transfigures its own era. So, the photorealistic as possible. The better you are, the more skilled you are, the more you're respected by society during that era. And if you don't paint like this, the penalty is harsh. If you paint like I do in 1500, you are going onto the bonfire. Okay, so nobody dare to leap out of that ever, not even dream of it. That's how unfree people were. That's how unfree our ancestors were. But there are some amazing, and the Blue God agrees, 3333. Yes, see? So, it's the truth. So, but there are some players throughout history, no matter how oppressed the era was, that would find a way to transcend and transfigure their own era and their own art frame that they were dedicated and doomed into. So the style of art, the type of art that they were supposed to do. There are always people in art and music that were able to leap out of it with arms and legs, but without the public noticing it. So they were so smart. They knew how to liberate themselves from, that template of art dictation. And they were able to paint in a way that even a king, for example, like King Henry VIII, who was ultra ego-driven and old-fashioned and in his own ways and dictational. What a tyrannical dictator. And he had people paint him, and they would have to paint him in a glorified way, or they would have their heads chopped off. So very awful. So, but there were always painters among them that would figure out a way to reserve this freedom of art and expression within the framework of photorealism and glorification realism, basically. More glorification than there was actually in the realism. So if they would just paint in a realistic way, as Vermeer did somewhere around 1700, 1800, I forgot now. So I think around somewhere in the 1800s, I think. No, correct me. I forgot now exactly. Or yeah, somewhere in the mid 1800s, I believe it was. That's when the evangelical stuff had taken over, and people weren't allowed to paint something pompous anymore. So then people like Vermeer, they came in, and it became very popular and fashionable to just paint something in its raw, realistic way, with the light and with the sadness and all of that, and painting things that are poverty and people that didn't have a lot of food, versus the Baroque era, where they were supposed to paint everything in utmost decadent abundance, with golden angels and wealth and so on. So it's very much reflected in the cathedrals. If you ever have traveled to Europe, you can clearly see that there is much of a difference between the Baroque era and the era of evangelical and like embrace your poverty shit and all of this. Friedrich Nietzsche really had a problem with that. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. So anything that's religious, again, whether it is Vatican or kings that are bragging, or Martin Luther that wants people to embrace their poverty, or their pushoverism, or their whatever, it's all wrong. All of it. Trust me, it's all completely wrong. But in 1500, Raphael, a great artist that was working for different people, and also particularly the Catholic religion, and none of these people were even allowed to ever question this or think out of it. But what the artist did is, when an artist starts painting, that when it's the creation process, actually, then this creation process finds its way out of the confines of art dictation, which is not art then much anymore. It may be skill, but it's not that much art in a real philosophical sense. Okay, so in the philosophical sky perspective sense, to say this is real art, it has to show the real creation process, and that is when art makes art for its own purpose. L'art pour l'art is a French term for this particular phenomenon of art making art. Art is therefore only for its own art purpose and for no other purpose. Like my alien spaceships, they don't serve some kind of utilitarian purpose. My brother kind of made fun of this, like, oh my goodness, look how thick these things are. They're kind of like encroaching into your living space, right? So it's kind of like almost like anti-purpose. For some people it would be, For me, the purpose is love. The purpose is expansion. The purpose is the creation process. Okay, and that's what it is. That's what it is. That's what real art is. It celebrates itself. It's happy. It smiles. It's alive. It radiates out healing energy. It loves you. It kisses you. It comes towards you. So it doesn't let anyone confine its shape. No way. So it's very stubborn in that way. So it wants to transcend and transfigure its way out of the known, okay? And it's a freedom from the known, like the book by Jiddu Krishnamurti. And it is the blue god, okay? That's what this is. That's what all of those are. I can't show off any more because I will get very upset if I do. So I'm working on Alien Spaceship 6 right now. I have already made the astronaut, the ET astronaut for it. It's a very, very large thing that I'm going to be setting into the Alien Spaceship 6 once it's on the wall. This one is more like some kind of space shuttle type. This one goes into the corner, the perfect corner piece, and I'll put the alien in it, and I will take photos of it for my Instagram page. I created one. I did it for my brother because I'm not a hustler or something, but my brother, he said you should create an Instagram page and put your artwork on it and see what happens, and you can always share that with people, and that's the best, because I only put my artwork on it and nothing else. So on Facebook it's just one big chaos of different things. So it's good to have one social media page just for my artwork as an art exhibit. That's what I'm gonna do. And I like to take photos of my artwork where it doesn't show anything next to it, the wall or anything. I like to take photos of my artwork in a way where it's just, you only see my artwork. Like if I go really, really close to it, my last video, one of my last videos has a photo of this artwork here, and you can see how I take the photo. I zoom in very close so that it doesn't show any margins or the wall or anything on the side. So it just shows the artwork. It's just all encompassing, the artwork is the whole photo. And I'm gonna do this. My dad criticized that because then he said he can't see the entire artwork, the way it hangs there, and the exact shape of it and so on. But this is just my way of taking photos, and this is how I have to do it. I have to, and with some artworks I have to take several photos of the same artworks where I show fragments of the artwork from left to right and up and down, so that all the different aspects and fragments of the artwork is seen, but it's always just the artwork that you see in the photo. And I like it this way, because when I look at a photo, I want to be in the artwork, and that's how I get into the artwork. That's how the artwork has the most power and shining out. It's in radiating out its pure healing energy. So I think that's really, really great. So Nikki Daisy Dandelion artwork is my Instagram page for anyone who wants to check it out. So far I only have Alien Spaceship 2 and 3 in there, but I'm gonna be taking photos of the other ones with, I'm not showing you, I'll take photos with my other computer, my travel computer, and then I will sign into Instagram from there and put them on there. And I'm gonna try to get my artwork really zoomed in and in full shine and brightness, so when the sun shines, so that there'll be my opportunity to do this. So yeah, okay, I'm gonna leave it at this now, I guess. What else did I want to say? I guess I'm gonna make another video about this at the other house. I'm gonna get into this more in depth, into the human condition and all of those things that are part of that, okay, and how we can fix it. Definitely one way to fix it is through making artworks, okay, so getting into art, and so changing your entire biochemistry in your brain, okay. Peace and love for all living beings in the entire eternal universe.